What do you mean I need to forgive him? There's no way I'm going to forgive him. It's not going to make me feel better. I'm perfect just the way I am. I don't need to change. I don't need to forgive him.
Oh, goodness, I hope you're not like that guy. Hey, there is a better way. I want to show you that way. It's called forgiveness. Watch.
You're watching Timeless Talks, timeless subjects, information for life.
I'm certain that you want the benefits of forgiveness. You want to be treated by others who also use that golden rule. Jesus did say in Matthew 7, "So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets." So you want others to be good to you and forgive you for the accidental wrongs you have done to them. You want the reduced anxiety. You want less stress. You want the hostilities to cease. You don't want to be depressed. You want a healthy life with less risk of heart attack and lower blood pressure. And I'm thinking you would like to sleep at night. And we want an ever-improving relationship with God. We are the ones who sin. We are the ones who make God turn his back on us, just like he did to Jesus when Jesus was carrying all the sins of the world on the cross. Jesus asked his Father, "Why have you forsaken me?" It is our wrongs against him that causes a breakdown in our relationship to God. Those who do not follow God's instructions will spend eternity in a place prepared for Satan, not people. Since we need to start a practice of forgiving people, wouldn't it be smart to figure out what forgiveness is, and especially seeing it from God's perspective? It also helps you and me to make sure we're talking about the same thing and eliminates some of the confusion. The Greek word in the New Testament is aphiemi. Greek scholars use words and phrases like lay aside, leave, let alone, let go, put away, and send away. Other scholars define it as to let be or disregard, and even remit or keep no longer. One scholar even says it was to pardon. From these definitions, we can understand some key ideas, like laying aside the harm that was done to you. No longer will you consider the wrong done to you as something that can shape who you are and what you should be. We understand we should make a conscious decision to walk away from the wrong. I will separate myself from this wrong's attempt to control me. I need to think of the wrongs done against me just like I think about poison ivy. Do you remember the expression about how to identify poison ivy? It was leaves of three, let them be. Well, if you don't let them be, they will torture you for a long, long time. Calamine motion may help the itch from the poison ivy, but it won't do much for the forgiveness. When we forgive, we put it away or set it aside. We no longer allow the problem to be an obstacle to my relationship with the offender. When you extend forgiveness, you give up the debt created by the offense or the emotional injury. You are considering the debt as being paid in full. You will no longer expect an apology from the wrongdoer. You see the debt as canceled or paid. Jesus canceled our sin debt, our injury to God, when he died for us. Paul told the Colossians, "And you who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven us all our transgressions, by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross." Jesus, the master teacher, knew how to put these kinds of principles and ideas into stories called parables so that we could see and understand the idea. If we could just find one of these, we might get a more clear picture of both the one doing the wrong and the one being offended. Once we see that, we can begin to see what forgiveness is and why it's needed. Jesus did give us such a parable. We call it the parable of the unforgiving servant, and it's found in Matthew chapter 18. The context of the parable was that Peter had asked Jesus how often he should forgive someone. He was thinking that 7 times would be good enough. Well, Jesus told him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. And when the parable began, a king was settling accounts with his servants. He wanted the servants to pay their bill in full. One of his servants owed him 10,000 talents. That would be the equivalent of this mathematical problem I'm going to show you. 1 talent equals 6,000 denarii, or the equivalent of 6,000 days of work. 10,000 talents then would equal 60 million days of work. Now that's more than 164,000 years of work. Well, this debt was never going to be repaid. But so what's the master supposed to do? Well, he did think it was something. Sell the slave. Sell his wife. Sell his kids. Recoup all the money that you can. Cut your losses and go on and be done. Then the servant began begging his master, be patient with me and I'll pay you everything. Well, the master knew better. He had pity on the servant. He forgave him that impossible debt. What should the servant have felt? Release? A fresh start? Relief at least. But the same servant had a fellow servant who owed him the equivalent of 100 days' wages. Days, not multiples of thousands of years. The forgiven servant snatched up his fellow servant, began to choke him. Just like you might see in one of those old movies with a mobster's enforcer. The fellow servant begged for patience. What happened next? He refused and went and put him in prison until he should pay the debt. Well, now both of these debt-owing servants had other fellow servants. And they had witnessed this, and it caused them great distress. They went and told the master everything they saw. And that's when the master called for that forgiven servant. They had a real face-to-face meeting. Here's what happened next. Then his master summoned him and said to him, "You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you pleaded with me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you?" And in anger, his master delivered him to the jailers until he should pay all his debt. That forgiven servant who was not forgiving himself had his debt reinstated because he lacked forgiveness. That servant did not cultivate a forgiving and merciful attitude. The man who had been forgiven so very, very much spent the rest of his life separated from his friends, his wife, and his children. He was going to die in prison, still a debtor. Jesus finished his illustration to Peter by saying, "So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart." What lesson did Peter learn? What lesson are we learning? On the final days of Jesus' ministry on earth, that Passion Week, he addressed the same subject again with his disciples. He had already had the triumphant entry. He had shut down business in the place of worship when he cleared out all those den of robbers, as he called them. He was finishing his discussion on mountain-moving faith. And in that context, he told his disciples, "And whenever you stand praying, forgive. If you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also, who is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses." What benefit do these statements by Jesus show us? What's the difference between this teaching and the parable? Well, there is one. Everyone who has received forgiveness of their sins needs to be developing a spirit of forgiveness and mercy. And while we're praying with faith that would move a mountain, forgive. Now, Jesus' latter statement emphasizes the extent of the forgiveness. It also plainly says what is to be forgiven and who is to be forgiven. And it reminds us of the consequences if we don't forgive. But speaking of benefits, the next video in this 4-video series, the one that you see here, will be looking at the physical, mental, and spiritual benefits of forgiveness. There are so many reasons to forgive. We hope that you'll watch it real soon. But now, do you need help right now in becoming more forgiving? Is forgiving a hard struggle for you? Well, we want to help. Give us a call and leave us a voice message. Or you can send a text to this number, 870-796-2475. We will try to help. We also have free booklets that relate to this forgiveness idea. Take a look at our booklet page. Select one. Read it online, download it, or request a printed version. All of it is free. Do you need forgiveness of sins that are against God? We have multiple ways of helping. Again, use the phone number or reach us through the contact page here at timelesstalks.net. Don't wait. Do it right now. Thank you for watching. We only want the very best for you, so don't wait till tomorrow to visit with us again. Watch that next video right now. Hey, we'll see you in just a moment, okay?